Hello everyone, welcome back. This is my first video of 2021. A brand new year filled with hope for the dance community. I have so many ideas for upcoming videos ready to go. But as always, if you have any requests, please feel free to let me know in the comments. We're starting off this year with the 3 pieces of cool. So please, share, like, subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, we now have a link that you can click on in the description. But you better do it fast because we're starting right now. So in a video toward the end of last year, I posted an archive video of my experiences at the Berlin Salsa Congress back in '07. In that video was this guy clearly having a blast, Gormack Dione. Fast forward 14 years later, and he was on my short list for social dance breakdowns. So here we go. Gormack Dione is a self-taught dance teacher based in Manchester, England. His school, Dance Groove Momentum, has weekly classes, and he is also the organizer of the upcoming Step Up Latin Fest in Ibiza this coming September. What I like most about his style is his use of handholds. Many of the techniques I've discussed, sense of surrounding, follow the hands, points of contact, they're all used here.
Example.
Check out this common but elegant movement right at the beginning of this dance with Elena Badzym. A simple inside turn for her led from his left, her right. This is led by the hand with no reinforcement at her back. Gormack places his right hand to her left shoulder as she passes him, providing Elena with lead on both sides of her body. The inside turn begins and Gormack quickly flips his hand from thumb up to thumb down, placing the hold behind his head to complete the straight line for Elena. So for her it feels like a simple inside turn. And it is. But Gormack's intention is to slip past Elena, step behind her and to her other side while still maintaining this handhold. This is an impossibility by itself, but Gormack understands the benefit of using points of contact. He understands how to make his partner feel surrounded or enveloped, even when they technically can't see each other. Gormack quickly reaches with his right hand to pick up Elena's left arm as he makes his way behind her, providing a window for Elena to accomplish her basic step. I'm going to get into how good she is a little later. This quick use of handhold to slip past his partner isn't necessarily specific to Gormack, but he is an example of how it's done well. There are a few examples of this technique in this dance, each with a different exit or connecting movement. Let's talk about Elena for a minute. I do not know this young lady, but I will sure be on the lookout. I got lucky with this dance because it was like feeding 2 birds with 1 scone. See what I did there? I got a request to take a look at Elena for a breakdown video. So this worked out swimmingly for me. What I want to point out here is how she uses the line to her advantage. In each of these examples I just showed, look at how Elena, for one, follows the hand, not the partner. She never turns and looks over her shoulder to see where he's going or what he's doing. Not once. She knows that she doesn't need to see him. She feels him. Elena operates from touch, so she gracefully does her basic step in a straight line, trusting that what is happening is intentional. Very well done. Even here in this handshake hold inside turn to check, Gormack is leading with his right and hers. Look at how he has his left hand up and waiting to meet Elena at the checkpoint. Checkpoint. No. Point of check. You know what I'm talking about. Elena has enough trust and balance to step down with her balanced step. In this case, her 5, since they are dancing on 2, raises her right knee forward for styling before the end of the movement. Now watch this. She kept the position and her head forward throughout, but then felt Gormack begin to lead her to her right for a right hand turn, so she glances over her right shoulder. But his intention wasn't to give her a right turn, rather to imply a right turn and then quickly lead her to her left. See here, the check was on 5. She is tilted left for the count of 6, quickly tilted right for the count of 7, and then once again tilted to her left to guide her down the same line and having her step down on 1. Because he has provided lead on both sides of her, he is able to tease either direction at will, giving him plenty of options. That was the preparation for the check. But there's more. Gormack just got her to step down on her right, the count of 1. Now normally the lead would create another inside turn for the follow, causing them to turn counterclockwise down the line. Given that he just tilted her to her left on the count of 1, that would make sense. But what does Gormack do? After giving her the 1 step, He holds firm with his right hand, releases his left hand hold, and gives Elena a clockwise or progressive turn down the line. This could have gone two different ways, either stepped out or in place. It's in place because Elena holds position for the counts of 5, 6, and 7. That was her styling choice despite the surprise of sudden direction changes. Gormack couldn't have known, but his lead is so versatile that it didn't matter. Had she chosen to travel down the line and take her steps, the outcome would have been the same. Something like this. Notice that even though she is stationary, his steps continue to advance forward. Had he felt her traveling, he would have taken larger steps to travel down the line with her. But she had confidence in his lead, chose to style in place and on one foot. The two of them adapted perfectly. Lastly, let's talk about press lines. In the next 2 counts of 8 is another very cool movement. Starts with this copa. Gormack back breaks or hard breaks after the progressive, passing the left hand over Elena's head, spreading the arms far out to the sides to create a T position for the both of them. Inward pressure applied with both hands implied to Elena that she is going to be kept in this spot. I refer to this in its simplest form as a copa to fake, which would result in the follow accomplishing a basic step after the copa. So Elena just steps in place during 2, 3, and 5, gives a bit of a hip roll to meet the challenge, and waits to receive information as to which direction Gormack is going to send her. He decides to place her back in her original position. So where do we go from here? It starts with something as simple as placing a step. Gormack steps slightly forward here. I'm not saying that breaking back wouldn't work. Just found it interesting that he stepped forward because the step on her path could inform the follow that their path is partially blocked, which helps with the rest of the movement. They're dancing on 2. This is happening on the count of 6. Gormack first brings both sets of hands out in front of Elena, with their lefts above their rights. As they both take the steps of 6, 7, and 1, Gormack steps forward and then to the side. In addition, he pulls his arms apart, brings his left hand to his left and his right to his right. In doing so, this causes Elena's arms to move in the opposite directions, almost like Elena is hugging herself.
You should leave that for someone else to do.
Anyway, Gormack makes his left hand hold dominant, applying more pressure in his left and relaxing his right to inform Elena as to her direction. This creates the press line. Notice leads how Gormack does what I have spoken about countless times: clear high and low line. Once he has gotten Elena to commit to her new direction, he leads an inside turn with both sets of hands passing over her head and moves on. Now from the follow's perspective, follows, have you ever found yourself in a situation on the floor where you feel like there's a moment to style but can't think of what to do, and when something finally occurs to you, it's too late? Most have. So remember this: simplicity has elegance. Look here at Elena coming out of the progressive turn. She places her left hand to her waist during the clockwise turn. The arm bent at the elbow gives an attractive look to the turn, and all she had to do was place her hand on her waist. Then at the end of it, swings her left arm from the waistline out to her side and forward toward Gormack. Look at how her arm swings, but her wrist is bent, hand back, giving the appearance that the air is viscous, like she is wading through water. Then comes the copa. She extends her arms out to her sides, but doesn't hyperextend. See follows? There is a bit of a bend to her arms at the elbows. It's a bad idea to get into positions like this and lock your elbows. You can't be sure what the lead will do. Avoid injuries by keeping a slight bend in your elbows. I love Elena's hip roll here. On the way out, she is placed in the position she began in. Breaks back as usual on 6 into 7, and then forward on 1. This is the standard. She feels her arms being pulled in different directions and reacts accordingly. Now look at this hold. How could she know which way to go with this awkward handhold, you might ask? Elena does what I've been telling you follows for years now. She follows the hand. Sure, both hands are being used at the moment, but there is pressure in one hold much more than the other, and that's what she goes with. I mentioned earlier how Gormack applies more pressure to his left while relaxing his right. Elena's hair trigger response gives her all the information she needs. Once she has stepped down on 1, she pivots to her right, following the hand, and then stepping down with her left on 2 for the inside turn, ending the sequence. Or is it? Okay, I can't help myself. There's just too much good technique here. In the very next count, After Gormack leads her walk down the line with his left to her left, he passes it over her head. That's standard, but rather than remain in front of her, Gormack guides the hold over his head as he travels behind her again. This causes her to pivot toward him during the prep of 6, 7, and 1. He then switches the handhold from his left to his right. We can't see the switch, and that's the point. He's going to switch the handhold right in front of her, being as accommodating as possible for the otherwise awkward movement. Gormack extends his new hold, his right, well out in front of Elena, because Gormack knows the importance of the line, releases her hand for the free spin, and after all that still has time to turn to his left before picking her up for the 360 crossbody lead. Multiple direction changes executed perfectly by both. I could go on, but I think that's enough for now. That's going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. This content is for you to benefit from, so if you want to support, you can click on the link in the description. I really appreciate all the feedback that you've given. Comments, likes, and even dislikes help me to provide you with the best content that I can. So like, comment, sub. I'll see you in the next one, and remember, keep dancing.